Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive with us.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to be tackling BPMN.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Business Process Model and Notation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that you hear a lot about when you're talking about, different software engines that are used for process modeling and automation.
Right.
And a lot of times you hear it touted as like the way to easily move between those different engines.
Yeah.
Like if you model something in BPMN, it should just work.
Exactly.
In, Camunda or Flowable or ZB or whatever.
I would think that it'd be that easy.
And so that's exactly what we're going to be tackling today is this myth.
The myth.
Of BPMN being this, silver bullet to just like move processes between these different engines.
Yeah. Does it actually deliver on that promise?
Right.
That's what we're going to see.
So the source material for this deep dive is a conversation between Mirko, who is a process expert.
Yeah, he calls himself a process pitcher.
Okay.
So he pitches processes to companies and helps them implement them. And he was talking to Patrick, who is a Swiss solution architect, who's got a very wide range of knowledge on different BPM platforms.
Yeah.
And they kind of put BPMN to the test with a credit card application process.
All right, so we got the experts, we got the process.
Yeah.
Where do they even begin to, debunk this myth?
Well, they actually start with something that's seemingly simple, but often overlooked, which is the user task in BPMN. And Patrick really emphasizes that even though we're talking about all this automation and, making things digital, a lot of processes still require human intervention.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And there's various reasons for that. You could have regulatory checks, or maybe a decision is just too complex to automate, or you might just need a human to do some troubleshooting.
Yeah, or some kind of approval process.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so even though we're talking tech and automation, we can't forget about that human element.
Exactly. The human is still there.
All right, so what happens next?
Well, the first hurdle that they run into is actually a visual one.
Okay.
They try to import their BPMN model, and it just looks all wonky.
What?
And it turns out that even though it's a standard, the visual consistency between different modeling tools isn't actually guaranteed.
So you could model the same thing in two different tools.
Yes.
And it would look different.
Exactly.
How does that even happen?
Well, it all comes down to pixels.
Okay.
So different modeling tools use slightly different ways of arranging the elements on a pixel level. So even though the underlying process is the same, the visual representation can actually differ quite a bit.
And that could cause a lot of confusion, right?
Oh, yeah.
Especially between business people and the IT team?
Imagine you have a blueprint of a house and the walls and doors are all shifted around.
Yeah, it's going to lead to some errors.
Yeah, big time.
Not seamless.
Not seamless at all.
So that's the first crack at our myth.
Exactly.
So what do they do to fix this visual mess?
Well, Patrick, being the tech-savvy guy he is, uses a tool that's part of Flowable called Leap to analyze the model and see if there's any potential migration conflicts. And what's interesting is this is where they start to uncover some deeper limitations of BPMN, especially when it comes to automation.
Oh, really? I'm all ears.
Yeah, so BPMN is great at laying out the basic flow of a process, the steps, who does what and all that.
Right.
But when you get into the nitty-gritty of automation, how those tasks are actually executed by the engine, that's where the portability can kind of fall apart.
So it's like having a recipe that says bake the cake.
Yeah.
But every oven is different.
Exactly.
So you might need to adjust the temperature or the time or whatever.
Exactly. And in this case, the oven quirks are the engine-specific ways of doing things.
Right.
So for example, Flowable uses something called a service registry task to connect to external systems, which is a bit different from how Camunda does it.
Even though they're both working from the same BPMN model.
Exactly.
So you could be speaking the same BPMN language, but they're still dialects.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
So you might think that because both Flowable and Camunda share common roots, they both stem from this platform called Activity, that the migration would be a piece of cake.
You would think so, right?
Yeah.
Family ties.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
So what do Mirko and Patrick find?
Well, they do point out that it helps in some ways.
Okay.
But they emphasize that even within this family, you can still run into problems because of what are called engine-specific extensions. So each engine might have its own set of extra features that aren't part of the standard BPMN spec.
Interesting. So even with a shared heritage, You can't assume a perfectly smooth migration.
Nope, not at all.
Sensing a pattern here.
Another myth debunked.
Yeah.
The family advantage doesn't always apply.
So to really get this credit card application process working in Flowable, they need to roll up their sleeves and make some adjustments.
Yeah.
And that's where the technical details of how each engine handles automation really comes into play.
Yeah, it gets down to the nuts and bolts.
Okay.
And that's where it gets really interesting.
All right, so let's take a closer look.
All right, let's dive in.
So it sounds like even just little differences can cause big migration headaches.
Big time.
It's definitely not as simple as just plugging in the same BPMN model and being like, all right, we're good to go.
You wish.
Right.
It'd be nice though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Just plug and play.
And it's not just about like the technical aspects either, right?
Yeah.
Remember earlier when we were talking about how like those visual inconsistencies can cause problems?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Mirko and Patrick found that this visual element is actually crucial for effective communication.
Oh, yeah.
Between like the business and the IT teams.
For sure, if everyone's not looking at the same picture literally, then misunderstandings and errors, they're bound to happen.
Right, because if you can't even agree on like what the process looks like, how are you going to agree on how to implement it?
You can't.
Right.
It's like trying to build a house where the architect's blueprint doesn't match up with the contractor's plans.
Total chaos.
Chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is where that human factor that we talked about earlier really comes back into play. Because even with the most advanced automation tools, clear communication and collaboration is essential.
So BPMN, it's not just about drawing diagrams.
Well,
it's about creating a shared language that everyone involved in a process can understand and work with effectively.
It's all about communication.
Okay.
A shared understanding.
Now, I'm sure some listeners out there are thinking, well, I don't actually migrate processes between engines every day. So how is this relevant to me?
That's a good question.
Yeah. What would you say to those folks?
I would say that even if you never personally migrate a process, understanding these nuances of BPMN portability can make you a more effective process modeler.
All right. I'm intrigued. How so?
And communicator.
Okay.
First of all, it highlights the importance of sticking to the standard BPMN specification as much as possible.
So kind of like writing in plain language.
Yes.
Instead of using a bunch of jargon that only a few people understand.
Exactly. You want your BPMN model to be accessible to a wide audience, both technical and non-technical people.
All right, so keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
What else?
Second, you always want to be mindful of that visual clarity.
Right.
Make sure the layout and presentation of your model are easy to follow.
So you don't have to be like an artist or anything?
No, just clear and consistent.
Okay.
And finally, always be thinking about the why behind your process model.
Okay.
What problem are you trying to solve?
Yeah, what are you actually trying to achieve here?
Exactly, because a beautiful diagram is useless if it doesn't actually address the underlying business needs.
Form follows function.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And if you follow these principles, it will help you create more robust, understandable, and ultimately more valuable process models.
Regardless of whether you ever migrate them between engines.
Exactly.
So it's all about bridging that gap between the technical and the business worlds.
Bridging the gap. That's a great way to put it, yeah.
And as we move towards even greater automation, that bridge is only going to become more critical.
Oh, for sure.
Speaking of which, Mirko and Patrick did something really interesting.
Okay.
At the end of their little experiment here,
yeah,
they actually assigned points
to
their original BPMN model.
Interesting.
Based on like different criteria.
Okay.
Like readability correctness, automation potential, and reusability.
So they're like grading their own homework?
Kind of, yeah, a scoring system for BPMN models.
I like it.
Yeah.
Did they pass?
Well, they got a respectable 30 out of 50.
Not bad, not bad.
Not bad, but what's really interesting is the discussion that this scoring system sparked.
Yeah.
About the trade-offs inherent in BPMN modeling.
Oh, the trade-offs.
I love a good dilemma.
Me too.
So what kind of trade-offs are we talking about here?
Well, for instance, they highlighted how striving for simplicity and clarity often comes at the expense of capturing all the little details and nuances.
Right, because the real world is messy.
It is.
And processes are complex.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's hard to like simplify things without losing some of that important information.
You got to find that balance.
It's like that saying, everything should be as simple as possible, but no simpler.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they also talked about that tension between sticking to the BPMN standard
Right.
And having the flexibility to leverage those engine-specific features that might make your process more efficient or whatever.
So it's a balancing act.
It is.
You need to weigh the benefits of standardization against the potential advantages of customization.
Every situation's going to be different.
Right. It's not about following rules blindly.
Nope.
You need to make informed choices based on your specific needs and goals.
Context is key.
And that brings us back to that thought-provoking question we posed earlier.
Oh, yeah.
How will the BPMN standard need to adapt to keep pace with this ever-evolving world of automation? It seems like BPMN is at a crossroads.
Yeah, it's got to find a way to be robust enough to handle the complexities of automation,
right,
but also flexible enough to adapt to these different engines and evolving technologies.
So we need a way to capture not just what the process looks like, visually,
right,
but how it actually functions behind the scenes with all the technical details.
Yeah, got to bridge that gap somehow.
While still keeping things standardized and understandable.
Right, because if it's too complicated, then nobody's going to use it.
Well, Mirko and Patrick's experiment, even though it shows some of BPMN's limitations, it also showed us how valuable it can be to just try things out.
For sure.
And learn from those experiences.
Absolutely. Sometimes even failures can teach us a lot.
Right.
And help us move forward.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
I'd
like to leave our listeners with a couple of questions to ponder.
Okay, hit me.
First, how can we apply these insights to create better, more understandable, and ultimately more valuable process models, regardless of the specific tools or engines that we're using?
That's a good one.
And how can we all contribute to the ongoing evolution of BPMN to make sure it stays relevant and effective in this increasingly automated world?
It's a challenge for sure, but it's also an exciting opportunity.
Yeah, it is.
To really shape the future of business process management.
All right, well, that's a great point to end on.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of BPMN.
Always a pleasure.
We hope you learned something new.
Yeah.
And are feeling inspired to tackle those process challenges with a fresh perspective.
Go forth and model.
All right, we'll see you next time.
See ya.